He bought a ranch for $1, then met the girl living inside Daniel Road across the dry plains of Zorath 7, feeling the twin suns of the frontier planet burn against his weathered face. His horse, a rugged hybrid with both organic muscles and mechanical enhancements, moved steadily through the tall, alien grass. He had spent years as a frontier scout, chasing rumors of lost settlements and guarding trade routes between human colonies. But now he sought something different, a place he could call his own, away from the chaos of galactic politics and endless skirmishes. The ad had been simple: abandoned ranch, 1 credit. Daniel almost laughed when he first saw it. 1 credit. Not a typo, not a joke, just a single measly credit for what used to be a working ranch decades ago. The description mentioned abandoned machinery, overgrown fields, and a few warnings about strange occurrences that made other settlers leave in fear. For Daniel, it was perfect. Cheap, isolated, and mysterious. Exactly the kind of place a man could disappear into. When he reached the ranch, it looked exactly as described, yet somehow it was more alive than he expected. The main house leaned slightly to the left, its metal walls dented and paint long faded. Rusted windmills creaked in the hot wind, but the water tanks looked full. Smoke curled faintly from the chimney. Footprints in the dust suggested someone had moved through here not long ago. Daniel dismounted and walked cautiously toward the front porch. Every step felt heavier, as if the land itself was testing him. He called out, "Hello, anyone here?" His voice carried across the fields, but no answer came. Just the soft whisper of wind through alien grass. Suddenly, movement caught his eye. A figure darted behind the barn. He drew a small pulse pistol, the kind used for protection against wild animals or scavenger drones. He moved slowly, stepping over the uneven ground. When he rounded the corner, he froze. A girl stood there. She looked human at first glance, but her eyes were too sharp, too bright for any normal human. Her hair shimmered slightly in the sunlight, reflecting the alien grasses around her. She held herself cautiously, one hand brushing against the barn wall as if ready to vanish at any moment. "You're not supposed to be here," she said, her voice soft but firm. It had a strange echo, almost like it carried a hint of the wind itself. "I could say the same to you," Daniel replied. He kept his hands visible and lowered the pistol slightly. "This ranch is mine now, bought it for 1 credit, name S. Daniel." The girl tilted her head, studying him. She didn't move closer or back away. "Bought it." "That doesn't matter. This place, it's mine. I've been here for a long time." Daniel laughed softly. "Alone?" She didn't answer immediately. Instead, she glanced at the horizon where the twin suns gleamed. "Long enough." Something about her made Daniel uneasy. Not dangerous, but unusual. He had encountered plenty of settlers, wanderers, and fugitives in his time, but this girl carried a quiet confidence, like she belonged to the land in a way no one else could. "All right," he said. "Looks like we'll have to share the ranch then." "I don't plan on leaving." Her eyes narrowed slightly, but she didn't argue. Instead, she led him toward the main house, pointing out signs of her presence. Tools were neatly arranged on a workbench. Water was filtered and stored. Small lights flickered from hidden panels on the walls. "I keep this place running. It needs care. People don't understand it. Most who come here leave quickly." Daniel followed, his curiosity growing. He noticed odd markings on the walls, symbols etched into metal, glowing faintly. "What's this?" he asked. "Old systems," she replied. "Machines that guard the land. I can work with them. Others can't. That's why they leave." Daniel nodded slowly. He had spent his life around tech, old human ships and frontier machinery. But this was different. The ranch was alive in ways he couldn't yet understand. He felt the weight of responsibility settle on his shoulders, but for the first time in a long while, he didn't mind. That night, the two of them sat outside the house. The twin suns had set, leaving a dark sky filled with stars. The wind carried a strange scent, metallic and sweet, almost alive. Daniel started a fire, the kind humans had used for centuries to survive cold nights. "You've been here a long time," Daniel said, breaking the silence. "I've been here since I can remember," she replied, eyes fixed on the glowing fire. "The ranch, it chose me." "Chose you?" Daniel raised an eyebrow. She nodded. "There's power here. Machines buried under the ground. Things people used a long time ago. I can make them work. Others can't. That's why I'm here. That's why I stay." Daniel studied her. She was telling the truth, but he didn't fully understand it. He had seen strange planets, alien technology, and frontier settlements fall to ruin, but nothing like this. "And what happens if someone comes looking for this place?" he asked. "They will," she said simply. "They always do. People want what they don't understand." Daniel glanced at the horizon. The tall grasses waved as if alive. Somewhere in the distance, he could see the faint shimmer of movement, perhaps animals, perhaps scouts. "Then we better be ready," he said, more to himself than to her. Over the next few days, Daniel explored the ranch with her guidance. He repaired fences, cleared overgrown fields, and examined the house. Each room revealed hidden panels, secret compartments, and strange devices that hummed with energy. The girl demonstrated small things, doors that opened without handles, lights that responded to thought, and water pumps that activated only when she approached. Daniel was impressed. "This ranch isn't just a piece of land," he said one evening as they sat by the fire. "It's alive," the girl smiled faintly. "It needs a guardian, someone who can think and act for themselves, someone it trusts. You might be that person." Daniel chuckled. "Me, you're giving a lot of credit to a guy who's just looking for a quiet life," she shrugged. "Sometimes quiet lives are the most dangerous, especially here." That night, Daniel barely slept. The ranch creaked and hummed as if the walls themselves were whispering. He kept hearing faint footsteps, faint echoes, but when he looked, no one was there. Something told him he wasn't just being watched. The land itself was alive, testing him. Days passed. Daniel began to notice subtle changes. Lights flickered when he approached certain rooms, panels opened slightly, and small devices he hadn't noticed before activated in response to movement. He realized the girl's presence wasn't the only factor. The ranch reacted to him, too. One evening, as he repaired a rusted windmill, a shadow moved across the grasslands. Daniel froze. The figure was humanoid, wearing a long cloak that shimmered under the twin moons. It didn't run or hide, it watched. Then with a blink, it vanished. Daniel's pulse quickened. "Someone's coming," he muttered. He returned to the house and told the girl what he saw. She didn't flinch. "I told you," she said. "They always come, but not all are enemies. Some just want to know what we are protecting." Daniel nodded. The firelight danced in her eyes, reflecting a depth of knowledge he could not yet understand. He realized then that his quiet life might be over, but he also knew something else he didn't want to leave. The ranch was strange, alive, dangerous. But it felt like home for the first time in years. And the girl, mysterious and strong, was not just a companion. She was part of the land, part of its story, and perhaps the only one who could show him the truth about this place. As the twin moons rose high in the sky, Daniel gazed at the horizon. Somewhere beyond the grasslands, forces were moving, drawn by the ranch's hidden power. But for now, he sat beside the fire, feeling the warmth on his face, and for the first time he felt ready for whatever came next. The next morning, Daniel woke to the soft hum of the ranch. The wind had shifted overnight, carrying a faint metallic scent from the grasslands. He stretched and squinted at the horizon, noticing shadows moving far off in the distance. Not animals, not clouds, people or something like people. He quickly dressed, grabbed a toolkit, and went to check the outer fences. The ranch was older than he realized. Rust had eaten through some of the metal posts, and the wood was dry and fragile in places. If anyone tried to enter, the defenses would not hold. The girl, whose name he still didn't know, followed silently behind him. "You shouldn't be out here alone," she said softly. "I'm not afraid," Daniel replied. He crouched near a broken post and inspected it. "I've been on frontier planets where the ground itself tried to kill me." She chuckled, the sound low and melodic. "This place is different. The ranch doesn't want to be taken. It likes certain people and it notices others." Daniel nodded, glancing at her. "So it likes you, that makes sense." "Not just me," she said, her eyes scanning the fields. "It's beginning to notice you too." Daniel raised an eyebrow. "Notice me?" "The ranch is alive, Daniel. Not like a person, not like an animal, but it senses everything. Movements, intentions, even feelings. You are here now, it's aware." He shook his head, half in disbelief, half in awe. "And it likes me?" "For now," she said, smiling faintly. "But that can change." Daniel returned to the main house. He grabbed a small data pad she had shown him earlier. It contained diagrams of the ranch, with layers upon layers of hidden systems underground. Some seemed like irrigation and storage, others like long-abandoned machinery that hummed faintly when touched. He studied it carefully, realizing this ranch was far more than a patch of land. "You should come," the girl said, her voice serious. "I want to show you something." They walked together toward a hill behind the barn. Beneath its surface, old panels glowed faintly in response to her presence. She pressed a small symbol etched into the rock, and a hatch slowly opened. It revealed a narrow staircase leading underground. Daniel felt a chill. "Ever go this deep?" he asked. "Never without company," she replied. "It's safe with me, but you need to be careful. The ranch tests those who enter." Daniel took a deep breath. He had faced alien wildlife, rogue machines, and hostile raiders before. He could handle whatever a ranch wanted to test him with. They descended. The underground chamber was larger than he expected. The walls were lined with panels, wires, and strange alien devices that pulsed with soft light. In the center stood a control panel shaped like an arc, with a surface that rippled like liquid metal. "This is the heart of the ranch," she explained. "I've never touched it fully. Only the ranch chooses when it's safe for me." Daniel circled the chamber, examining each wall. Some panels showed old maps of the frontier planet, with certain areas highlighted in bright green. Others displayed graphs he couldn't yet understand. The hum of energy in the room made the hair on his arms stand on end. "So, what does all this do?" he asked. "It protects the frontier," she said simply. "Long ago, the ranch was part of a network, defensive outposts hidden from view guarding settlers and trade routes, but the technology was abandoned and the guardians left. I'm the last one here." Daniel looked at her in surprise. "The last one, that's a lot of responsibility for a kid." "I'm not a kid," she said sharply. "But yes, and now you're here. The ranch may test you, but it also sees potential. You could help." Daniel smiled. "I'm not sure what the ranch wants from me, but I think I like it here already." They stayed underground for hours. She showed him how to operate certain systems: irrigation, energy panels, and old communication devices. Daniel realized that if he learned this technology, he could manage the ranch and defend it against almost anyone. He also began to notice subtle things: doors opening without handles, lights responding before he even touched switches. The ranch was aware of him, just as she had said. Later, as they returned to the surface, movement in the distance caught Daniel's attention again. This time it was closer. Humanoid figures approached the ranch with deliberate steps, their clothing and equipment unfamiliar. He squinted. Bounty hunters, scouts, something else entirely. "They're coming," he said quietly. The girl didn't flinch. "I expected them, but not all are enemies. Some want the ranch, others just want to see." Daniel felt a surge of protectiveness. "Then we make sure they don't get what they want," he said. They quickly set up defenses. Daniel barricaded doors and reinforced weak sections of the fence. The girl moved effortlessly through the ranch, her presence activating hidden turrets and alarm systems. Daniel realized that she was more than a companion. She was part of the ranch, and it trusted her. When the figures finally appeared at the edge of the field, Daniel could see their intentions clearly. They were well armed and moving with purpose. He tightened his grip on his pulse pistol. "You sure we're ready?" he asked. She nodded. "We'll see. The ranch will help, but we must be clever, not just strong." The confrontation began quietly. Daniel and the girl used the terrain to their advantage, activating traps she had shown him. Automated turrets hummed to life, sending warning signals and pulses that forced the intruders to slow down. Daniel realized the ranch itself was fighting alongside them, sensing threats and responding in ways he could barely understand. After hours of careful maneuvers, the intruders retreated, at least for now. Daniel and the girl emerged from their hidden positions, breathing heavily but victorious. "You handled that well," she said, "but this is only the beginning. Others will come." Daniel nodded, looking at the horizon. He felt a strange mixture of fear and excitement. For the first time in years, he had a purpose beyond survival. Protecting the ranch, helping the girl, learning the secrets buried beneath the land, it all felt meaningful. As they walked back to the main house, the girl turned to him. "There's something I need to tell you." "Something I haven't shared with anyone else." Daniel stopped. "What is it?" "I am not entirely human," she said quietly. "I was created to interface with the ranch's systems, to protect it, to guide it. Without me, the ranch cannot function fully. And now, with you here, it has chosen to trust you too." Daniel stared at her, trying to absorb the truth. "So, you're like a key," she nodded. "Yes, but you're learning fast. That's why the ranch allows you here. It sees potential in you. It sees trust." Daniel shook his head, smiling slightly despite the tension. "Well, I guess I better live up to it then," she smiled faintly. "You already have, but there's more to come. The ranch is old, powerful, and others want it for themselves." If we are to protect it, we must learn its secrets before anyone else finds them. That night, Daniel sat by the fire outside the house, gazing at the stars. The twin moons reflected in his eyes as he thought about the day's events. He had fought off intruders, explored underground chambers, and learned that the ranch was alive in ways he could barely comprehend. He had met a girl who was not just human, not just guardian, but part of the land itself. For the first time in a long while, Daniel felt a sense of belonging. The frontier was dangerous, yes, but it was also alive, vibrant, and full of possibilities. The ranch had chosen him just as it had chosen her. Together, they would face whatever came next. And Daniel knew one thing for certain: life on this ranch would never be quiet. Not with her, not with the land, and not with the galaxy watching. The twin moons rose high in the sky, casting silver light across the alien grasses. Daniel tightened his coat, feeling the warmth of the fire and the presence of the girl beside him. Ahead lay uncertainty, danger, and adventure. But for the first time, he was ready. The next morning, the wind blew hotter across the plains of Zorath 7. Daniel woke early, feeling the weight of the previous day pressing on him. The intruders had retreated, but their presence left a lingering unease. He knew they would return, and next time they wouldn't come alone. The girl, the ranch's guardian, was already outside, kneeling near a strange metallic device partially buried in the dirt. It pulsed faintly, responding to her touch. Daniel approached quietly, observing her careful movements. "What is that?" he asked. "It's part of the ranch's defense system," she said without looking up. "It scans the horizon, detects energy sources, and prepares traps if danger approaches. I've never activated it fully. I want you to see it work." Daniel knelt beside her, his eyes scanning the strange symbols etched into the metal. As she pressed her fingers against them, the device hummed louder. Lights along the ridge flickered, almost as if the landscape itself had woken up. "The ranch is alive," Daniel said, shaking his head. "I've never seen anything like this." "Yes," she said softly. "It watches, listens, and protects. It responds to those it trusts, and now it's beginning to trust you too." Daniel felt a mixture of pride and unease. Trust from the ranch was not given lightly. He had fought enemies, faced wild creatures, and survived harsh climates, but this was different. The ranch was not just land. It was an intelligent entity, ancient and powerful, tied to the girl in ways he could barely comprehend. Their conversation was interrupted by a distant sound, the low hum of engines and movement across the plains. Daniel squinted at the horizon. A fleet of small hovercraft approached, kicking up alien dust that shimmered under the twin suns. "They're back," he muttered. The girl nodded, her expression calm but determined. "Worse than before, they've brought reinforcements." Daniel grabbed his pulse pistol and checked the ammunition. "How many?" "Too many to fight head-on. We'll need the ranch's help." They hurried toward the main house, activating hidden panels and defensive turrets along the way. Daniel noticed how naturally the girl moved, almost in sync with the ranch itself. Every device she touched, every panel she activated, responded instantly. The ranch seemed to anticipate her intentions, preparing traps and barriers in advance. As the intruders drew closer, Daniel realized this was more than a raid. They were searching for something: the girl, the ranch, or both. Their movements were deliberate, coordinated, and methodical. "They want the ranch's power," Daniel said grimly. "Not just the power," she replied. "They want control. They will take it by force if they can." The first attack came as the hovercraft landed near the outer fences. Figures jumped out, armed with energy rifles and strange devices that pulsed with alien energy. Daniel and the girl moved quickly, using the terrain to their advantage. Hidden turrets activated automatically, firing warning pulses that forced the intruders to scatter. "Keep moving," she shouted. "The ranch will guide us." Daniel followed her, ducking behind metal crates and old windmill supports. He realized that the ranch was not only defending them, but also creating paths, clearing obstacles, and opening hidden exits. It was a partner in the fight, not just a place to hide. One of the intruders aimed a pulse rifle at Daniel. He dove to the side just as a beam struck the ground where he had stood moments before. He rolled behind a reinforced fence post and fired back, hitting a control panel on the intruder's equipment. Sparks flew and the figure collapsed, stunned. "Good shot," the girl shouted. She activated another panel, and hidden netting rose from the ground, trapping several intruders. Daniel marveled at her skill and the ranch's intelligence. It was as if the land itself was alive, defending what it considered sacred. The fight continued for hours. Daniel and the girl moved in perfect coordination, combining his frontier experience with her knowledge of the ranch's systems. Together, they outsmarted the intruders, using traps, terrain, and the ranch's hidden machinery. Finally, the intruders began to retreat, their numbers dwindling and their devices damaged. Daniel and the girl stood side by side, breathing heavily, watching as the hovercraft lifted off and disappeared over the horizon. "It's not over," she said. "They will return. And next time they may come with more than scouts." Daniel nodded. "Then we prepare, we learn the ranch's secrets, we fight smart, not just hard." The girl led him back to the underground chamber. This time she activated a larger control panel, one that glowed brighter and hummed with more energy than anything they had seen before. "This is the core," she said, "the heart of the ranch. It can protect entire regions, create barriers, and even control old satellite defenses. But I cannot use it alone. You need to understand it too." Daniel examined the controls. Alien symbols flashed across the panels, lights pulsed rhythmically, and holographic maps displayed the frontier lands. He felt overwhelmed, but the girl guided him patiently, explaining how energy flowed through the ranch, how defenses could be activated, and how to use the terrain strategically. "This is incredible," Daniel said. "I fought enemies and survived planets, but this is beyond anything I imagined." "Yes," she said, "and we must learn quickly. The ranch trusts you, but trust alone isn't enough. Knowledge is power. If we fail, the ranch could fall into the wrong hands." Over the next several days, Daniel trained with the girl. They mapped out the ranch's hidden systems, repaired broken machinery, and practiced defensive strategies. The ranch seemed to respond to their combined efforts, lights pulsing brighter, machines working more efficiently, and hidden corridors opening for the first time in decades. During one session, Daniel asked, "Why did no one else ever stay here?" The girl's expression darkened. "Many tried, but the ranch tests those who come. It reveals fears, weaknesses, and intentions. Those who fail, they leave, or worse, some never return." Daniel swallowed. He had faced fear many times before, but the idea of being tested by the land itself was something new. Still, he felt a strange confidence. He had survived everything the frontier could throw at him. If he could survive the ranch's tests, he might finally find a home. That evening, they sat outside the main house, watching the twin suns dip below the horizon. The plains glowed orange and purple, shadows stretching long across the alien grasses. "You're getting stronger," the girl said. "The ranch has noticed, it trusts you more each day." Daniel smiled faintly. "And what about you? You've always been part of it, right?" "I've been alone for a long time," she said softly. "The ranch kept me safe. Now maybe it will keep us both safe." Daniel looked at her, feeling a bond forming beyond words. They were different, yet connected by the ranch, by survival, and by purpose. He realized that this strange land, these ancient systems, and this mysterious girl were becoming his life, his responsibility, and his home. Suddenly, a distant signal pulsed through the valley, sharp and clear. Daniel and the girl exchanged a glance. It was not a threat yet, but a warning. Others were coming. Forces larger than the last attack were on their way, and the ranch would need all of their knowledge and skill to defend it. Daniel tightened his coat, feeling the familiar thrill of frontier life, danger, adventure, and the unknown. But this time he was not alone. He had the girl, he had the ranch, and together they would face whatever came next. As night fell, the ranch hummed softly beneath their feet. Lights glowed faintly across the fields and hills, hidden corridors prepared and defenses readied. The twin moons rose high, casting silver light on the alien grasses, and Daniel knew one thing for certain. The frontier had never been more alive, more dangerous, or more incredible. And in that moment, he understood that home wasn't just a place. It was the people and the land that trusted you, and he was finally ready to earn that trust. The twin suns of Zorath 7 had barely risen when Daniel awoke to a faint vibration under the ground. He could feel it through the soles of his boots, a low, steady hum that pulsed through the ranch. The girl was already up, standing near the hill where the underground hatch led to the ranch's core systems. Her eyes glowed faintly in the early light. "They're coming," she said quietly. "Not scouts this time, a fleet, bigger than anything we've seen." Daniel's pulse quickened. "How many?" "I don't know," she admitted. "But the ranch is ready, and so are we." Daniel grabbed his pulse pistol and checked the remaining energy packs. His horse, a rugged hybrid, was ready in the corral. Everything that could move had been moved into position: hidden turrets, reinforced barricades, and defensive panels. Yet even with all their preparation, Daniel felt a thrill of fear. The ranch was alive, yes, but this battle would test everything and everyone like never before. The first ships appeared on the horizon, hovering low above the alien grasslands. They were sleek, dark, and armed with energy cannons that glowed ominously. Daniel and the girls sprinted toward the main house as automated turrets activated, their lights flashing in warning. The ranch responded instantly. Hidden drones rose from underground chambers, scanning and targeting the fleet with precision. "They've never seen this," the girl said. "They think they can take the ranch, they don't know it's alive." Daniel nodded grimly. "Then we show them." The first shots were fired. Pulses of energy lit the plains as the intruders' weapons clashed with the ranch's defenses. Daniel ducked behind a reinforced fence post, firing his pulse pistol at approaching hover drones. Sparks flew as beams hit metal, and several of the attackers faltered. The ranch reacted instantly, doors opening to reveal hidden turrets, panels shifting to block energy blasts, and lights guiding Daniel and the girl through safe paths. They moved together like a single unit, blending human instinct and ranch intelligence. She guided him to critical points, activating hidden mechanisms and using her connection with the land to anticipate attacks. Every trap, every automated turret, every energy shield seemed to respond to their thoughts. "Keep moving," she shouted. "The ranch will protect us if we listen." Daniel felt a surge of awe and adrenaline. He had survived frontier battles, alien predators, and rogue scouts, but this was unlike anything he had ever faced. The ranch was more than terrain, more than a building. It was alive, and it fought with them, anticipating the enemy's every move. As the battle escalated, Daniel realized that the intruders were not just after the ranch. They were after her. They wanted the girl, the key to the ranch's core systems, and they were willing to destroy everything to get her. He moved faster, intercepting incoming energy blasts and guiding her toward a hidden underground passage. "You need to be here," he said. "Without you, the ranch can't fully defend itself." "I know," she replied, "but you've learned enough. Together we're stronger." They reached the underground core. The chamber pulsed with energy, lights flickering across holographic maps and panels. Daniel stared at the control arc in the center, its surface rippling like liquid metal. The girl placed her hands on it, and immediately the entire ranch seemed to awaken. Panels shifted, doors opened, and hidden energy conduits flowed like veins beneath the land. "Now," she said. Daniel placed his hands beside hers. The ranch hummed louder, responding to their combined will. Energy shields rose across the property, forming invisible walls that repelled the enemy fleet's energy beams. Automated drones soared into the sky, firing pulses that disrupted the intruders' systems. The hovercraft struggled to maintain position, many forced to retreat as their weapons malfunctioned. "They didn't expect this," Daniel said, voice filled with wonder. "No," she replied. "They underestimated the ranch, and us." The intruders tried a final push, coordinating their attacks with precision. Daniel and the girl anticipated each move, guided by the ranch's awareness. Hidden corridors opened beneath the enemy vehicles, sending some crashing into traps. Automated turrets fired synchronized pulses, disabling hovercraft engines and scattering the fleet. Daniel felt a moment of exhilaration. This was frontier life, amplified 1,000 times: danger, strategy, and the raw thrill of survival. And yet there was more at stake than victory. The ranch, the girl, and this land depended on them. As the battle reached its peak, a massive energy surge emanated from the control arc. The girl gasped, focusing all her strength. The ranch responded fully, shields expanding beyond the property, creating an invisible barrier that cut off all remaining attackers. Energy pulses radiated outward, forcing the intruders to retreat completely. Daniel watched as the last ships lifted off, leaving the ranch untouched and secure. Silence fell across the plains. The twin suns shone down on the damaged but defended land. Daniel lowered his pulse pistol, breathing heavily. He turned to the girl. "We did it," he said. "Yes," she replied, her voice calm but filled with relief. "The ranch is safe, for now." Daniel looked around. The property bore the marks of battle, but the land itself seemed unharmed. Machines had realigned, traps had reset, and the ranch's systems pulsed steadily as if satisfied. He realized the truth: this place was alive, yes, but it trusted them. They had proven themselves worthy. "You were amazing," Daniel said. "And so were you," she replied softly. "You didn't just fight, you learned, you adapted, you listened." The ranch recognized that. For the first time, Daniel felt truly at home. The frontier had always been dangerous, unpredictable, and lonely. But here, with the girl and the ranch, he had purpose. He had a home. He had someone who trusted him, and a land that depended on him. Over the following days, they repaired damage, tended to the fields, and activated more of the ranch's systems. Hidden panels revealed supplies, underground chambers provided safe storage, and the ranch itself seemed to guide their work. Daniel marveled at how much of the property he had never noticed before: corridors, energy nodes, and defensive structures that were centuries old yet fully functional. As they worked, the girl shared more of her story. She had been left at the ranch as a child, raised by the land itself, trained to interface with its systems, and guided to protect it at all costs. She had never fully understood her purpose until now. Daniel listened, realizing how rare and extraordinary her life had been. And now she was not alone. At sunset, they stood atop a hill overlooking the ranch. The twin suns cast long shadows across the alien grasslands, and the wind whispered through the plains. Daniel tightened his coat, feeling the warmth of the moment and the girl beside him. "You think we're safe now?" he asked. "For a while," she replied. "The galaxy is vast and others will try to take the ranch, but we are ready together." Daniel smiled faintly. "Then let's make this place a real home for both of us. And for anyone who needs a safe place in this wild frontier." The girl nodded. "Yes, the ranch will guide them just as it guided us." Days turned into weeks. Daniel and the girl repaired the property, learned the hidden systems, and began planting crops. Traders and travelers cautiously approached, drawn to the ranch's strange energy, but also sensing its protection. With the ranch's systems active and the girl guiding its defenses, the land became a haven, a blend of frontier life and advanced technology, where humans and the ranch coexisted in harmony. Daniel taught the girl practical skills from his cowboy life: how to ride across the plains, handle livestock, and track intruders. In return, she taught him the ranch's systems, energy conduits, and defensive mechanisms. Together, they became a team bonded by survival, trust, and respect. One night, under the glow of the twin moons, Daniel sat by the fire outside the house. The girl joined him, and for a moment they simply watched the stars. "You think we'll face another attack?" Daniel asked. "Eventually," she said, "but we are ready, and the ranch is stronger now because we are together." Daniel nodded. "I've fought many battles, seen many worlds, and faced dangers beyond imagination, but this is the first time I've felt truly at home, safe, wanted." The girl smiled faintly. "Then you belong here with me, with the ranch. You've earned it." Daniel looked around at the fields, the hidden systems, and the horizon stretching beyond the twin suns. The ranch hummed faintly beneath their feet, alive and aware. He knew their work would never end, but for the first time he felt the frontier was theirs. Not just to survive, but to live fully, to protect, and to thrive. As the wind carried the alien scent of grass and metal across the plains, Daniel felt a deep sense of peace. The ranch was alive, the girl was by his side, and together they had faced the galaxy's threats. Their bond was strong, their home secure, and the frontier, vast, dangerous, and beautiful, awaited their adventures. For the first time in years, Daniel smiled truly. The ranch, the girl, and the land itself had chosen him, and he had chosen them. The twin moons rose high in the sky, silver light reflecting on the alien grasses, as Daniel and the girl sat in quiet triumph. The frontier was alive, the ranch was alive, and together they had created a sanctuary, a home where courage, trust, and adventure would continue for years to come.